Hello my beauties, it's Varin Gill and welcome to Inner Journey with Varin Gill channel. This is my third video in the series. I'm so excited to reach a point where I'm not letting you know what number my video is in the series. I will get there. I'm so grateful that you're still with me. The video today is about the new moon in Cancer per Vedic astrology. I do not do Western or tropical astrology. I do Vedic astrology as well as other modalities. And our video today is a little talk through on the moon cycle as well as the significance of the upcoming new moon in Cancer. Now, how many of you actually pay attention to the moon cycles so that you become aware of how they might be influencing your life? Here's the thing. Yes, the moon has an energetic connection to ourselves because we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. We are a teeny tiny version of the wider universe. So inside us, we are made up of the same elements that the universe is made up of. One such element is the element of water. And as we know, the moon really impacts the tides. The tides seem to change with the waxing and the waning of the moons, and you can see this impact especially on the beaches. Similarly, we are somewhere between 70 to 90% water. The element of water is a huge part of our body. As we know, when we don't drink water, we're all like, ugh. So the same tides of the moon, of the water, are living within us. So pay attention to how you're feeling, not just during the moon cycles, but on an everyday basis. One of the most important things to be aware of with a moon cycle is when it's a new moon and when it's a full moon. It's not about the actual date of the new moon and the full moon that has an impact on us. It's the dates and times prior to these activities, when the moon is at its peak of full and when it's about to get the new ray of sun, which makes it a new moon. A new moon simply means a new moon cycle, which starts with a dark moon, and then we get a new ray of sun, which is tomorrow, the 24th of July, and then the sun starts to increase its light to the moon, and it becomes a full moon in 2 weeks. And then the light of the sun starts to fade away and it slowly becomes a dark moon leading up to a brand new cycle. Now our ancestors used to use the moon cycles to work their lands. Our ancestors, using their body's natural intelligence, were aligned to the moon cycles. Plantations would begin just around the new moon, a few days after the new moon, and fertile periods would be the full moon of the harvest periods. So if you notice, most of the harvest festivals that are celebrated across the world tend to coincide with a full moon. This is the power of nature. Our ancestors did not have the scientific methods that we have today to get the maximum food production out of our land. They had one cycle a year of planting, whether it's planting rice, planting flour, it would be one cycle a year that coincided with the changing seasons. So there's a harvest season, which is at the end of summer, and it depends on which country you are, it will vary. And there's a planting season, and the planting season is with the new moon. The harvest, once again, is with the full moon. So they lived in full alignment with nature. Now, when we don't do that, even the food that we eat is not aligned with nature. So much of us, which are elements, we're built of the 5 elements: fire, water, earth, air, and ether. All of these elements do not get energized as much as they are normally used to if we were fully living an aligned life. Life aligned with the elements, with the magic of the planets and the universe and nature itself. So when there's a full moon or a new moon or other planetary impacts around us, because we're so disconnected, they tend to have a larger impact on us. And as we become more and more aligned, the impact becomes awareness of what is happening to us, such that the impact is no longer we're a victim of what's happening. We start to be ready for the learnings, the messages, the deep awakenings and initiations that happen around the moon cycle. And as we do this, we begin to use the moon to enhance our energies, our spiritual selves, and the lives of others around us. And this was the role of women. So in the past, our womb would align to the cycles of the moon. Most women, before there was light, would bleed with the new moon. This is a period of planting, of starting to seed. So the women would know from their bodies, it's time to seed. And when it was a full moon, they would be harvesting. They would be telling the people around them that we are in this cycle, we're in this month, this is what's happening. And they would be so in tuned to nature around them that they could tell when there was a crop that was possibly having a difficult time, because they were creation itself. And this doesn't make men any lesser than women. Both work together to create the nurturing and the food that was needed to nurture us. Now today we have scientific ways. We don't work that way anymore. We harvest more than once a year. You've heard of GMO, that's the food we eat. And that's the way we live. So try not to just focus on what's happening on the day of the moon. That's what social media tends to spread, right? Whatever you see online is about this new moon on this date and this full moon on this date. But there is a build-up to each of these moons, as well as an effect right after that's happening, that's shifting our sensory energetics. For example, with a new moon in Cancer, for me, my new moon in Cancer is a build-up of the start of the Mercury retrograde until now. And this will be impacting most of you. The Mercury retrograde started last Friday, and it was also in Cancer. And now we have a new moon in Cancer in the month of Adi, which is the month of going inwards. So this new moon in Pushya Nakshatra, which is ruled by Saturn, the planetary deity, and Jupiter, it's Deva deity. And this gives this new moon a learning enhanced process for all of us. So I had so many past life, as in this past life, when I was younger, I met so many people that I've known from my youth over the weekend. It was totally magical how all of this came into place. And now with it being a new moon in Cancer, what would have happened over these last few days is a feeling maybe to end certain cycles to do with those people that we encountered in the last week. Use these energies to tap into what those lessons are for you. For instance, for me, seeing so many of my friends from the past, I used to hold a lot of judgment for myself with regards to the person I've become over the years. I used to be a top student in school. I was the one that everyone thought, would be like a top CEO, even a prime minister. I was really a bit of an inspiration for so many. And that was really driven by my wounds, my inner child wounds. I was very proud of myself, really proud of myself. However, I was not living in alignment to who I truly was. I had these deep needs to transform the energetics and the wounds that I was carrying from my inner child self. And as soon as I did, and I started living in alignment to the energies around me, rediscovering my energetic self, I have been incredibly happy, but I have felt a lot of self-judgment to do with how others perceived of the shift I made in my life. And I was amazed this last weekend to see the amount of respect, care, fun, joy that all these women that I used to go to school with had for me after all these years, when I thought I was no longer a part of that tribe. So this would be the kind of lesson that maybe some of you would have experienced to do with this upcoming new moon. It is the same thing with the full moon. The build up to your lesson during a full moon is about a week before, and the impact lingers for a few days after. And the more you become aware of what's creeping up, the faster you can ignite on the lesson, embody it, and move towards a new spiral of learning for yourself. So on that note, a little bit about this new moon. In this video, I'm not going to go into the energetic effect on each one of your zodiac signs, because there's no point. There's no point focusing on the energetics of your zodiac sign if you cannot even understand the basics of how a full moon or a planet or any one of these energies are actually working on you. If you are continuously just waiting for that one reading, you're engaging in the victim mindset that exists within astrology. I recommend you begin to become aware of the lessons that are coming up in your life. Pay attention to the readings around your individual zodiac signs as well, and I will do that in probably my next few videos. But for this first initial video to do with the moon cycle, I invite you to really work with the moon's energetics on your own. Sit down and analyze how the last 1 week has changed your life. What has entered? What new elements have come to light? What are you ready now to start the new moon cycle with? Pushya is represented by the cow's udders, which nurtures a baby cow. It feeds the calf. It nurtures the calf, it gives the calf all the food and nourishment it needs. This new moon is also the Adi Amavasya moon, which is the moon of our ancestors. It is the moon where we do rituals for our ancestors amongst the Hindu community. If it is not your ritual, that's completely fine. On the new moon, consider telling some stories, some waves, some little memories of any one of your favorite ancestors, and connect with that Pushya udder. The udder is a womb. So this new moon in Cancer is the energy of all that has nourished us to bring us to this point today. It's a new moon of gratitude, of beauty, because we are the seed that so many layers of ancestors have put together in front of us. We are so blessed. We are chosen every day by the divine to breathe and take a new day. I hope that was useful to you. I look forward to seeing you at my next video. I am putting a little PDF guide in the link below for anyone that would like to do a little ancestral ritual for yourself. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely new moon.